Good morning, Year 8, and welcome back to Summer Term 2. Hard to believe that we've gone through an entire school term, through the May half term, and we're still at home. But it's very important that we maintain this level of social distancing and lockdown so that we save lives. So it's important that we think about things outside of our own lives at the moment. So this assembly is going to be looking at one of the big issues that's happening, and I'm sure you've heard about it in the news over in the United States, and some of the messages of that and how we can think about that in terms of our own lives. So what is happening in the USA? Well, as you can see from the images, and I'm sure you've seen on social media, there's a lot of unrest and rioting going on over there as a result of a criminal act by a police officer against an unarmed civilian, an African-American man who was murdered by having himself choked to death by the police officer's knee on his neck while he was being held before being arrested, after being suspected of using a fake $20 note, which was later found to be entirely authentic. So this man had committed no crime, and he was profiled for his race, and he was then held against the ground, and he died as a result of that action by the police officer. The police officer has been charged with third-degree murder. 3 of his colleagues have been fired, but no further action is being taken against others in the department who stood by and allowed it to happen. Now, this is one of a long line of very poor decisions made by police officers and frankly criminal acts against members of the African American community, and it's a long-standing issue, and it speaks of a very painful divide in American society and a long-term reality for many African Americans that they are not treated equally in their own country. So this man, George Floyd, 46, died on May the 25th, so only a week ago, me doing this assembly. If you want to find out more about this man and who he was, the life he led, and the people that will miss him, please click on the link on the bottom right and you will find out more about him. There are also other links that you can look at, and you can learn more for yourself about this situation so that you're not just being led by social media and people getting angry and saying horrible things to each other. Find out the truth and make up your own mind. So on the note of you making up your own minds about this situation, I want to go through some images that I found particularly striking about this situation. Now you'll see pictures of communities here, you'll see pictures of people coming together. So I'm not going to speak through this, I'm just going to slowly play through and let you have some time to think about each of the images in your own way. And if you want to, you can do this in silence in honour of all of those that have lost their lives as a result of systemic prejudices in police forces around the world. So I hope you saw some of the aspects of the communities that I saw in those images there. People coming together from every background, every walk of life, every skin tone, every community, to highlight what they see as something that is wrong with the system. There is something going wrong here, and it's up to everybody, myself and yourself included, to make a stand against it. So 3 points on this I thought were important are in the red circle there. To follow credible journalists. Now what does that mean? That means researching for yourself, finding out the real situation and not just going with anything you see on social media, because although social media is very useful for highlighting things, sometimes it can mislead us and it can make us understand things the wrong way. So finding out more about a situation gives you the tools to make the right decisions, and it will help you in your later life decide what is true and what is not. Supporting each other. This whole assembly is about that. And staying safe. Now those last two we've been talking about before throughout the coronavirus epidemic, and it's just as important now, and I'm sure you can see why. So what does this situation have to do with you, and how can we relate it to ourselves? Well, essentially the pillar on the left hand side of the slide there is the community pillar. And to me, as your head of year and as the leader of a smaller part of our community, it's possibly the most important one. Because if you are a positive, helpful, conscientious and courageous member of any community, you'll stand up for others when you see something going wrong. You'll have each other's back, you'll support each other, and that is no matter who they are. If you see someone being persecuted, a victim of injustice, someone being bullied, it's up to all of us to do everything we can to stop that from happening. And the coronavirus pandemic has brought people together in a lot of ways, but there are still problems that people will face when it's over, which means people coming out and clapping on a Thursday evening, that was all very nice, but it's much more important that we recognise the sacrifices of doctors and nurses every day for years and years to come. So this shouldn't be just a short-term thing, supporting each other and being together. It should be for the rest of all of our lives. And if we think about it long term, that will make a serious difference to the way people's lives go. So here's 5 ideas for you to take with you from this assembly, and just thinking about how you can be the best person, the best member of any community that you can be. Someone that others look up to, someone that others rely on. So, number 1, support others when they face discrimination. That can be because of their gender, their sexuality, their religious beliefs, or their race. It can be anything. If they're discriminated against, you should stand up and support them. Number 2, you should learn and understand your rights. You should know what's right and what's wrong. You should know how you can act within the law, because then if someone tells you wrong, you can argue with them and you'll have the legal right to do that. Number 3, confront injustice when you see it. That doesn't just mean standing up for someone right then and there. That means making it part of who you are. Confront injustice. If it's climate change, if it's tax relief for the rich when the poor are still struggling, it could be any of those things. Confront that injustice when you see it. Number 4, see stereotypes for the falsehoods that they are. Now, there's a lot of stereotypes in social media. People think they make judgments on people based on what they look like, how they speak, what they wear, what they do. That is wrong. That is discrimination. That is injustice. So see a stereotype for what it is. It's not true. And 5, now this is very personal, prove your accusers and doubters wrong. If people think you are something you're not, if they think you're poorly behaved, if they think you're lazy, if they think that you're a bad person, if they think you're dishonest, prove them wrong. It's all very well and good saying that's not me, you're wrong. But if all they have to go on is evidence that you are, then that's the decision they're going to make. Prove them wrong. Show them the other side of you. Follow those 5 things, and no one can ever accuse you of being a bad person or getting things wrong, because you will know in your heart that you've done the right thing every time you've had the choice. So, on the topic of doing the right thing, I just want to give a shout out to all of these guys in the purple box who got 0 negatives at all in the last week of last term. So this is absolutely fantastic. I think of all the weeks that we've had, that last week of term, you know, that had the biggest potential for you guys not to do any work, because you think, well, you know, it's nearly the holidays now, I'm just going to take my foot off. But you didn't. You did brilliantly well, and we had more students in green and fewer students in red than any other week. So that is absolutely fantastic. So well done to all of you. Now we've got Jaden, Muflay, Naz, Kieran, Andre, Samim, Lillian, Noah, Aaron, Temis, Laura, Zane, Hannah, Gabriel, Charlie, Siron, Melissa, Ibrahim, Bilal, Ritis, Kuba, Sierra, Prina, Jaden and Mumfred. Guys, well done to all of you. That's an absolutely brilliant effort. So fantastic. Also, I've had lots through in the photography competition so far, and in the lead for most original pictures are Noah, Charlie and Prina. So again, absolutely fantastic. Your names once again up on the screen there. Now if you have a look at the tutors, guys, so we've got LOR at the top, and that final week you guys got 48 positive points and 45 negatives, which means you made a profit of 3 positive points. So that's fantastic. Following up quite close behind are MEB and SSI on -11 and -12, and then the last 3 groups have a little to work on. So hopefully we'll be seeing an improvement for you guys there. So a quick lucky 7. Wouldn't be a Mr. Clifton assembly without the lucky 7. So number 1, how many colours make up the visible rainbow? So how many colours are there in the visible spectrum that you see in a rainbow? Number 2, which community, and this is all about community, which community is the rainbow flag a symbol for? Number 3, what was Martin Luther King famous for? And I'm going to take any answers that are vaguely correct here. Number 4, what are the 6 pillars of Arc Putney Academy? What are all 6 pillars, please? Number 5, to which month or months, depending on the year, does the zodiac sign Taurus belong? So to which month does the sign Taurus belong? Number 6, what is celebrated on the 4th of July in the United States? And number 7, this is a maths and history question. If you took the square root of 64 and added 1960 to this number, which important law was passed in the USA in that year? So you need to find the year and then tell me which important law was passed in the USA. Now, it's related to the subject matter that we've been talking about in this assembly. Okay, that's your clue. And as always, you're right, there is a reminder of the numbers you can call if you're feeling down. My email is also there. Please make use of any of those services should you feel the need to speak to someone outside your household. If you'd excuse the fact that Edmund Burke here says good men and doesn't say good people, this is because he was writing in the 1790s, and he was probably a little focused on the role of men in society, but that's just history for you. It says, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. So let's no longer be the good people that do nothing. Let's stand up and speak for what we believe in. So I'll leave you on that positive note, guys, and I hope you have a fantastic week and keep up the fantabulous work that you've been doing. I just made that word up. Enjoy yourselves, and if you are going out in the sunshine, please wear sunscreen. Everybody burns. Take care.